Hi, welcome back to Kathleen's Wrinkles and Giggles. I'm so glad that you're here again. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Let's get to it about today. It's just simply a question. And I had read this question and thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. What you could do now that you could not do in your 20s. Well, at 66, that was kind of hard for me to think about. So it'll just be fun. Now, don't turn this off yet, but really think about not just physical things. What is the good thing about getting older? Because I think there's a lot. So let's just have fun and I'll tell you mine. And if you want to drop a comment, you can tell me yours. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so I thought about this and it did take me a few moments, maybe an hour, and then I pondered it maybe that week. What you could do now in your 60s and 70s that end up that you couldn't do in your 20s. Okay, a lot of us have this one. We can definitely say no to something when it doesn't fit us, and we do not feel guilty about it. Tell me that isn't great. And I know that that's a great place to be, and maybe some of you could do that all times. I could not. So I can say no and feel no guilt whatsoever, and that's a wonderful place to be. Also, I have a different schedule than other people. And now I don't make excuses about it or try to, always go against my schedule. I like to go to bed early. And maybe you'll say, well, sure, now in your 60s it fits. Well, no, I kind of did this in my early years, but just felt guilty about it or wouldn't tell people that I like to go to bed early and wake up refreshed. Now I can do that and still live a full life. And again, no excuses. I think that's wonderful. Another thing that I can do now that I couldn't do in my 20s is definitely wear short hair. I thought, of course, in my 20s, I had to go with the trend, and I had always loved short hair. Now, I feel free about it. There's sometimes that I think, should I go longer? My sons like it longer. I know that they think of it as an older cut. I think of it as fun and easy to do. So I got my hair cut even shorter this week. So that is definitely one thing that I could do now. When I was in my 20s, I had very, very long hair. So it's a great place to be. Another thing that I could do now is definitely, I probably could have done a little bit in my 20s, but I laugh at my own jokes. And I think they're for me and they're fun and they're funny. And I like to entertain people because I do find many life moments are definitely fun and humorous, and it's a great time to laugh. And, like they say, don't sweat the small stuff. And most of it is all small stuff. And now more than ever, I truly understand that part. Another thing that we could maybe all of us do is we have real advice. We can give advice if we want. And we have lived life. We've been through many, many experiences. And so we have a lot to offer the young people that we certainly didn't do in our 20s. We were so unknowing, unsure, and maybe asked our parents or older people than us about what to do. And isn't that a wonderful thing? I love it. I may not always be right, but I have great knowledge on so many things that I've lived through and I've seen other people live through. So I think that's a wonderful thing to celebrate, right? I think that is great. And another thing that I could do now in my that I couldn't do in my 20s is I can really take constructive criticism well. Sometimes even most criticism. Sometimes, maybe it stings a little, but you get over it really fast. How many of you are like that? To where you're not for everybody and you're not going to please everybody and you don't look like everybody wants you to look, or your hair or your makeup or this, but it is who you are. And I think that's a beautiful place to be that you couldn't do in your 20s. So that's another thing I definitely chalk up to. Another one that a lot of us have done is we've gone to lower heels and comfort. Hey, isn't that something? In my 20s, I was always afraid of my height since I am only 5 foot, a little bit over, maybe not anymore. Maybe I'm below 5 foot. But I used to have to wear high shoes at wherever I went. Now I can wear flats and go with comfort. You can go with comfort and style. So wherever phase you're in, I still wear maybe 2 inch to an inch heels for a dress or, definitely dressing up. And I still feel comfortable in that. But I no longer wear shoes that just look dynamite and just feel awful. That is a great place to be. I think that's a wonderful. I look at some of these young people that are feel like they're walking on stilts or they're so tilted and you just know that after an hour they got to be in pain. I don't worry about that anymore. Not at all. I, at this age, can complain very creatively because at this age, new things are happening. My knees hurt this morning going down the stairs. And I can make it fun and funny because I have joined the ranks of actually complaining about some health problems and laughing a lot about it. And I know that some of them aren't funny, and I know that we can get into various serious trouble. And at that time, who knows? Maybe I'll still make jokes because, my father did that until the very end. And, the doctors taking care of him, they'll probably never forget him. He laughed about everything all the way to the end or made a nice humorous joke to lighten the mood. And I think that was a beautiful thing. So definitely now I can certainly laugh more and do it a little creatively. And that is also a great place to be. So yeah, a lot of things we think about that we'd like to be in our 20s, but don't forget about all the beautiful things in our 60s and up. More things happening, and now we can look at little things, a sunset, and just be in awe. We can look at a hummingbird and just see the beauty and the miracle of that beautiful little wing creature that comes around to all of our hummingbird feeders that now we proudly display. And that is a great place to be. Yes, we're going to have our little aches and pains and gray hair and flabby skin, but I don't think I'd have it any other way. I think what's up in here is so worth it. So think about it this week. You're going to come up with some great things that I haven't even thought about, and that will be interesting to see. So thanks for coming back and sticking with me, and I'll learn more and more about this as we go. And thank you, Judy, my sister, for putting all this together. She's such a doll, and we'll see you soon. Stay fabulous. And we are boldly and beautifully going through life. Let's go through it together, and I'll see you soon. Bye.